Tracking Michael, high winds, torrential rain as it slammed ashore as a Category 4 hurricane.
Utter destruction. Utter destruction. As I said, there's going to be a lot of good people hurting.
Parts of the Florida Panhandle devastated as winds ripped apart buildings. A wall of water covered communities.
We will be sending help from air, land, and sea.
This morning, team coverage as the state begins to pick up the pieces from the most powerful October hurricane to ever strike the U.S.
Tropical storm Michael is now leaving its mark on Georgia. The deadly storm barreled through Florida's Gulf Coast, killing one man and an 11-year-old girl in Georgia.
More than 600,000 customers are still without power. Crews from across the nation headed there to help, including from here in Jacksonville.
First Coast News has teams all across the Panhandle as the cleanup process begins. Our own Lewis Turner, he's in Tallahassee this morning. We're going to talk to him in just a bit. We want to welcome you, though, first here to Good Morning Jacksonville on this Thursday morning. I'm Keitha Nelson.
And I'm Jeff Vallon. Let's get a look at where Michael is now. It is still Michael, from storm expert meteorologist Mike Prangley.
Thank you, Jeff. And yes, it's a much weaker Michael. That's right, Tropical Storm Michael, 50-mile-per-hour winds, and it's barreling through the Carolinas. So unlike what we saw with Florence, we're not worried about the flooding. It's not stalling out. Good news. But again, if you're traveling up I-95, there are some tornado watches and some gusty winds in these areas. So be careful. For us, no more watches or warnings. That's the great news. In fact, what we're watching here at home, a few sprinkles, couple drops on the windshield near Waycross, Brunswick. That's about it. So it looks like a dry ride to school and work out there. Still have some gusty winds, but not too bad in the 15 to 25 mile per hour range, especially north of I-10. Elsewhere, though, a pretty calm morning. Very tranquil for St. Augustine with that 10 mile per hour wind, looking for a gorgeous sunrise. In fact, those breezes will continue to come down through the afternoon, decreasing wind. And notice how it shifts to the west. That means we could turn hot. All right, so breezy to balmy, record heat, that 91 would tie a record high, but I've got some pumpkin spice latte weather coming your way. But first, let's get to Lauren Routencrans with some more on historic Hurricane Michael.
That's exactly right, Mike, and I cannot wait for that pumpkin spice latte weather tomorrow. You can catch me at the park with the dogs enjoying it. We do have a lot of storm reports to talk about, though, across the Panhandle, the Big Bend, and even here across the First Coast. A confirmed tornado right around the 2:45 time frame yesterday, and it actually had another touchdown reported up to the north near Maxville, and then a funnel cloud as well out in southwest Duval County. We also had wind gust reports of about 40 miles per hour all the way down towards St. Augustine, upwards of 40 miles per hour as you headed towards Waycross and Homerville, and even out towards Alma we had upwards of 50 mile per hour wind gusts. So yes, it was a breezy day, but today we don't have the rain, we just have a nice drier air. So that is some good news. We'll have Mike's pumpkin spice latte forecast in just a bit, Keitha.
Sounds good. Thanks for that, Lori. Now, as Michael moves inland, it has now weakened to below hurricane status, and the tropical storm warning for all of the southeast Georgia counties, that has been canceled this morning. But the storm itself, we know, is still affecting parts of Georgia with some strong winds and rain.
Power knocked out to many overnight in Albany. The winds took down street signs and trees, blocking roads as the storm continues churning toward the northeast. And new video this morning showing devastation left behind in heavily hit Panama City.
National Guard trucks seen just before dark last night surveying the damage and rolling out to help.
Now you can also see snapped trees and large utility poles lying across busy streets. Power lines are still dangling and blocking some roads.
Gosh, nearby windows just blown out and walls partially collapsed from a hotel you can see here. Water from the storm surge is covering some streets with street signs no match for the 155-mile-an-hour winds as the storm made landfall.
Imagine the damage inside where those windows are blown out too. Now large semis, you see that one, no match for the storm, some toppling over in parking lots. Damage left behind more a widespread area just miles away from where the eye wall actually came ashore.
And we're in the VyStar Credit Union Traffic Center. I know a lot of you still going to work, going to school today. Want to let you know, Dames Point Bridge, in fact, all of our Jacksonville bridges, they are open and they look just fine. The concern that they might close, that has since passed. So breathe a sigh of relief. All those bridges are open. Just do be careful when you cross them. You might still feel some strong gusts of wind. So 2 hands on the wheel when you cross those bridges. Sidney Lanier, though, up here towards Brunswick. Now that bridge is still closed at this point. No reopen time set. We know that officials are going to go out there, kind of assess the bridge and decide when they want to reopen it. But for now, the Sidney Lanier there is still closed. If you were trying to head back towards maybe Tallahassee or the Panhandle, this is a look at all of the reports of issues on the roadways out there at the moment. So basically, once you get to Tallahassee on I-10, it is just littered with trees down on the roadway, eastbound and westbound side. So make sure you are planning for that. Speaking of Tallahassee, let's go to our Lewis Turner.
Katie Jeffries, you said it. Trees down, trees down, trees down, branches everywhere. You've got power lines that are causing major problems down right now. Some 200 roads of Tallahassee had been blocked off because of trees and power lines blocking those roads. We're at downtown Ponce de Leon Park here, a chain of parks, and 200-year-old trees remain, but take a look at the huge branches that came down that's going to have to be cleaned up through the day today. This is tolerable. This is manageable, but take a look at this brand new video we got from overnight. This was yesterday as the wind's really picking up in Tallahassee. This is off Thomasville Road. Power lines come down in these guys' backyard. Thank you to John Swinehart for sending this in, causing a massive fire in the backyard as well. Now, authorities got there, got it taken care of. Everybody's doing fine this morning, but just the power that can happen there and the destruction that can happen so quickly just because of some winds. And these are 40, 50 mile an hour winds. We're going now to the Panhandle. The beach is there some 70, 80 miles from us right now to Panama City Beach, where things were a considerable amount worse. That's where Lindsay Boach is.
Here in Panama City Beach, we've seen quite a bit of damage. Right now, we're on Front Beach Road, and the Gulf is just right there. I can actually hear the waves crashing. And we found this. This is a scooter rental, kind of a restaurant with a good amount of damage. We've got some downed wires over here that are kind of tangled up, and a piece of furniture that's down as well. And it looks like part of the canopy has come down. And you can hear up there sometimes the roof. There's a metal roof that keeps crashing down on top of that canopy there, but a good amount of damage here at this place, a scooter rental place. We've seen some down power lines, some more down power lines, a lot of places without power. Over Florida and Georgia, more than 650,000 customers without power. Here in Florida, that number's right around 326, and a good amount of those people are right here in Panama City Beach. They just ordered, or they have ordered, a mandatory curfew that goes until 8 a.m. And now Bay County, where Panama City is under a mandatory boil order advisory as well. And that's just something that they're going to have to deal with now for the foreseeable future. Reporting in Panama City Beach, I'm Lindsay Boach, First Coast News, on your side.
Lindsay, thank you so much. We mentioned the trees down, the damage done, signage, things like that, all blown over. But let's go to the main thoroughfare kind of through Tallahassee. It would take you right up to the Capitol. Traffic lights on, traffic moving smoothly. Could be a, well, not quite business as usual Thursday, but much better than it certainly could have been, at least in Tallahassee. Now, our team coverage spread out from the Panhandle all the way to southeast Georgia. Cam Eppinger in Brunswick this morning for us, talking about some potential for road closures there. Cam?
Lewis, good morning. At this hour, the Sidney Lanier Bridge remains closed, and you can see it right now. It's blocked off right now. We know that it was closed last night around 6 o'clock, and it remains closed until DOT officials can come out here and conduct a full inspection on the bridge. I got to tell you, if you know anyone living here in the Brunswick area, it may not be a bad idea to go ahead and shoot them a quick text or give them a call just to let them know that the bridge is still closed. We've been seeing several cars, you can see right now, coming as they approach this intersection. They're making a U-turn right now. Some of the drivers getting out frustrated, telling us that they're going to be late for work. So if you know anyone living here in Brunswick, give them a shout. Let them know that the Sidney Lanier Bridge is closed, and it's going to remain closed until DOT officials can come out here and do a thorough investigation or an inspection on it. Now, as far as weather conditions at this hour, it's windy, dry, but as you can see, that wind tends to pick up from time to time. Not a lot of power outages to talk about. I've been monitoring that power outage map. There's only about 15 to 20 customers without power, and that power is expected to get restored at around 11 o'clock or 12 this afternoon. Now we're going to continue our team coverage. We're going to send things over to Lana Harris. She's joining us now live in Waycross. Lana, good morning.
Good morning. We've pretty much got the same situation here as is in Brunswick. You got that wind that's kind of coming in spurts. It stops and it comes in kind of heavy and then it'll stop again for a couple of minutes. And that's pretty much all we've seen here for the past couple hours since we've been awake, since around 2 o'clock in the morning. But we drove around. We really didn't see that much damage. In fact, trees like this, little branches like this might be the extent of what you might see on the road, along with some pine straw. That kind of lines the roads, really heavy in some places, like the trees just kind of got rattled a bit, but that's pretty much it. Now, we did confirm that there was a power pole, actually 2 power poles, and 1 tree that was down in the storm. We believe that's been taken care of by now, but as far as the extent of the storm, that's pretty much it. We did get to talk to a gas station worker who says that she is so happy that for the most part, Michael seems to have left her city alone.
I was a little scared, but I wasn't sure. Last year we had a real bad one and it really, hurt a lot of people. But tonight it's been pretty okay. I'm thankful that nobody's hurt.
Now, workers will have to go out and assess to make sure there's not any more damage once it gets brighter outside. But again, looks like Waycross and Ware County in general seems to have really avoided a big one. Lou, back to you.
You're not kidding. And, avoiding the big one is all relative, because what's happening in southeast Georgia right now, further inland from you and then even into the Carolinas, could be a bumpy day there for sure. And some of the worst damage that they will see from a tropical storm. So from Tallahassee to the Panhandle, southeast Georgia, our team coverage would continue here on Good Morning Jacksonville. We'll come back. We'll get a forecast and a little bit later a check-in from Panama City Beach. We'll be right back after this.
And welcome back. It's now 15 minutes past the hour. We continue tracking the aftermath of Hurricane Michael. Today, there are still some school closures in our area. Let's run through them really quickly. Out in Georgia, Glenn and Camden County schools are closed. In Florida here, Baker, Bradford, Columbia, and Union counties closed. Now in Duval County, all of Duval County public schools are open, but Blue Pearl Academy in Murray Hill, that is closed. And all of them, we're told, should reopen tomorrow.
All right, so we've watched the latest. We've got Tropical Storm Michael heading away. So for those kids getting a hurricane day, wow, what a day off of school.
That's
true.
True.
Enjoy the sunshine.
But it's better safe than sorry.
Oh, I agree. Let's take a look now at the very latest in the track of Michael heading away. And as that happens, be careful traveling the Carolinas up into the mid-Atlantic and D.C. There could be still some rough topsy-turvy weather, maybe some isolated tornadoes. For us at home, it's all about the calm after the storm. 82, a southwest wind, still gusting about 20 miles per hour. But notice on Futurecast, the wind starts to decrease this afternoon. We go sunny, hot, 91. But here's the good news. As this storm heads away, we've got some happy fall for you all. That does include our coolest temperatures in a long time. I'll show you those coming up.
I'll be happiest when hurricane season comes to an end.
Me too.
November 30th, everybody. All right, let's take a live look over here towards the Buckman Bridge. Buckman Bridge is fine. All of your bridges are open, and we have no concern anymore about any of them closing. So we are in the clear when it comes to bridges around the Jacksonville area. Now, if you are traveling on 95 northbound near 20th Street, the MLK there, look out for an outside lane blocked. They're just doing some repair work, so be careful. Clay County, no reports of any problems in your neck of the woods here. US 17 and Blanding look nice. You might see some tree limbs down here or there, but I'm not seeing anything blocking any of the major roadways.
And good morning to you. We're here in Tallahassee, downtown. I'm Lewis Turner, GMJ, continuing our team coverage of the aftermath of Hurricane Michael. Now, we've got teams fanned out from the Panhandle to southeast Georgia. I want to show you kind of what's gone on here. Now, power is on here in the central portion of downtown. This is Ponce de Leon Park. Just some pretty big branches and limbs down here, which is a great way to escape the party. Look at the lights up there in the trees, doing just okay this morning. Now, we do still know there are power outages on the outskirts of town. But here, even on the main thoroughfare, you got lights on. The traffic lights are good because the utilities here are underground. and traffic actually somewhat getting back to normal, at least for this hour on a Thursday morning. Now, where things will take a long time, even in some cases years, to get back to normal is along the coastline of the Panhandle, and that's where we find Juliet Dreyer this morning in Panama City Beach.
This hotel is right on the beachfront here in Panama City Beach, so it took a big hit when Michael moved onto shore. You can see some of the panels up there from the window have fallen off. They are dangling right now from that area, from that walkway up there. You can actually see someone walking by as we speak, and as we direct your attention down to the ground, you can see where some of those panels have actually fallen to the ground. And if we walk over this way, you can see, again, this is the beachfront, so right on the other side of this building is the beach, the damage to the fence over there. And then, of course, we see it after every hurricane, the damage to signs and billboards. And so this one has blown over here, one of the very many signs that have blown over here in Panama City Beach. But it's really hard to drive down any street and not see the damage. The damage is everywhere. Again, Hurricane Michael making landfall at a strong Category 4, almost Category 5 hurricane. So you can imagine the damage it did to this city. A lot of the people who live here have probably evacuated, probably haven't come back home yet. So they don't know what the damage is to their home. We've seen a lot of homes with damage, fences blown in, roofs blown off. So our hearts go out to them because we know what it's like to be in that situation. And for them, this situation is just beginning. Reporting in Panama City Beach, Juliet Dreyer, First Coast News on your side.
This is what came down on so many power lines around Tallahassee. It's why there are going to need to be crews here to get power on for people in the state capitol, but people west of us through the Panhandle as well, all down I-10, where you're going to have power issues and transportation issues because of roads blocked. Let's get to Nick Perot this morning, more on the JEA help and support coming from Duval all the way here to Leon County and beyond to get power back on.
Yes, Lou, good morning. And to tell you that help is definitely on the way. Now, crews are expecting to take about 4 hours to get there, just knowing that Hurricane Michael came through, going through debris, just traffic in general. So they're saying about 4 hours to get to you, but good news, 10 crews headed your way in Tallahassee. Roughly 40 members from JEA. They're including some first responders, about 4 linemen, as well as 4 additional crew just to kind of support, just to do the phone calls, to do the connections, to make sure everyone is in the proper spots. Again, roughly 50 JEA members. They were ready for this. They got the call earlier on the week, so they knew they were going. They had just left here in this area here at JEA. Again, roughly these 10 crews headed out this morning. They're headed your way, Lou. So again, they say they're willing, ready, and able to help any way they can. They expect to do this in 2-week rotations as necessary. So we've got 10 crews headed your way, Lou. We'll go ahead and send it back to you. Nick Perot, First Coast News, on your side.
I know the officials here in Tallahassee are looking forward to that help for sure. We've seen crews coming in from all over the state and even some from Alabama. Let's recap how things have gone so far this morning if you're just waking up from the recap of Hurricane Michael. Now, coming ashore yesterday afternoon is a Category 4 storm, the strongest October storm to ever hit, but the only and the strongest Category 4 storm to ever hit the Panhandle of Florida as well at any time of the year. You got to go all the way back, thinking back to Hurricane Andrew, a Category 5 that came across the state, and that's one that serves as nightmares. 2 people have died as well because of Michael, one in the Panhandle of Florida because of a tree down, and also an 11-year-old girl in Seminole Lake, Georgia. All right, so more on the forecast, more on what this storm is doing now, and what we can expect kind of behind this storm, because there is a big transition coming. Let's get to storm expert meteorologist Mike Prangley.
You've got that right, Lou, and you're looking great out there in Tallahassee. Loving your reports. Let's get right to it. Transition, okay, as Tropical Storm Michael heads away through the Carolinas today and continues to weaken. Right now, Tropical Storm. We're watching it wrap in lots of sunny days ahead and dry air. In fact, as we look at radar, still be careful traveling along I-95 in the Carolinas with heavy rain. Here at home, I think we're done with the rain. A beautiful sunrise to enjoy at 7:26 a.m. Winds, yeah, a little gusty at times, but just a breezy, nice morning overall. Winds mainly about 15 to 20 miles per hour. St. Simons right now, 24-mile-per-hour winds. But notice the wind comes down. It decreases through the afternoon, and it turns west, so we turn hot. All right, 91 degrees, but don't worry. we do have some happy fall, y'all, as we go into tonight. How about these temperatures? We're falling into the upper 50s inland, especially toward Lake City, the west side, 62 officially in Jacksonville. And yes, that's where we should be. Beach is a little warmer near the water, but it'll still feel good into the middle to upper 60s. And speaking of happy fall, yes, we've got some more of that in that weekend forecast with Lauren Routencrans. Lauren, I'm much happier with this forecast this morning.
Thank you, Mike. I am too, and I think everyone at home watching it as well. It's a big sigh of relief if we look towards the weekend. So we wake up on Friday morning, lows in the 60s, dew points for my weather friends in the 50s. So that means nice, cool, crisp feel to the air. Temperatures, yeah, they get into the 80s once again, but it's a whole lot better than that 91 that we're expected to see today. Clear sunshine into Saturday. Temperatures are even cooler to start though in the morning, getting into the 80s and warming up as we head towards Sunday. So Katie, I know you'll have that pumpkin spice latte tomorrow morning.
I will. I'm going to wrap myself in a blanket, take the dogs out, and enjoy that cool weather. I cannot wait. Thanks, guys. Let's take a look out here towards traffic. If you are traveling on 295 near Beach Boulevard, looks pretty nice. People kind of getting back into that routine, which is pretty good. So around the Jacksonville area, no problems on our bridges. All of our bridges look just fine. There was a crash here at 295 northbound, the on-ramp there at Collins. Look out, there is an officer on scene, but it's off in the shoulder. It's not blocking any lanes of travel. 95 northbound from St. John's towards Jacksonville. Pretty good drive there along 95. I-10 eastbound. So if you're traveling towards the Jacksonville area, moving up to speed at this point, not seeing any congestion. That usually kicks in around 6:30. If you're traveling on I-10 westbound, once you get to Tallahassee, be careful. You're going to see possibly some road closures on I-10 because of downed trees. We'll be right back.